Hello, friends. My name is Charmaine from Two Witch Isle, where we talk about spirituality and mental health. And here with me today is my friend Simone from the Coop of Chaos in the backyard. Simone is one of my Polish hens. I have two. You met Francine already. And Simone here is now 14 weeks old. 14 weeks. That's what I said. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. As you can see, Simone doesn't see a whole lot. Simone's eyes are quite literally on the sides of her head. Come here, let me see your little hat. And it's underneath the fluff, so she gets up real high to see anything. Fingers crossed that we are a she. Simone likes to flare her neck feathers at the other chickens in our flock, so we are hoping that Simone is just a feisty girl and not a budding rue. That's right. We're hoping, aren't we, Simone? I'm going to return Simone here back to her coop mates. You ready to go outside? Are you ready to go back outside? So I just returned Simone to the chicken coop. It has begun to rain outside. Getting her in was very wet, and getting her out was equally as wet. Serious, Kilala? You can't get... Hey, get off. Off. Oh, yeah. Sometimes cats are like children. All right, so we had our hen update. Now, since I'm coming home from a family reunion, I got to basically soak up some amazing time that I don't get the opportunity to have often. My family is pretty spread out, and we can only meet every so often. So when we do meet, it is something special. And this was like the first time I got my kids for a holiday and had my family with me as well to boot. And so for me, this reunion was extra special in that manner that through my divorce and being at home and the split with the kids, my kids always went where the family was. And I didn't have family in the States. So they went with their dad. His family was available. So the fact that I got my kids, it was a holiday and my family was there to celebrate with us. It was very, very special. Coming home, this leaves me in a place where, I had people in my house. I had stuff going on. Then I went out of town and more stuff was going on. And now I'm back home and I've got to settle into the reality of what my life normally looks like, which is me 99.9% of the time. And, in order to make my life the best life possible for myself, I need to be doing the things to keep my life happy. So I could fall in a hole of depression because my child has gone home, my aunt has gone home, and now it's a quiet house. And woe is me, I'm all alone, and I had people surrounding me, and now I don't. And you know what? That's the way life is going to go sometimes. So I thought about what is it that I'm doing to get myself back on track? Well, my daughter left on the 12th. It is now the 13th. What did I do yesterday? Well, I dropped her off at the airport. I pretty much went into the stasis of my child is getting on an airplane and I need to wait until they land till I feel really comfortable. And so that's what I did. Now, when I got the message about 2.5 hours later that she had landed safely and was at home, I knew she was safe. And then I could go about the rest of my day. And for me, the rest of my day was saging the house because I sage after everyone's visit. It's kind of a reset and cleanse to my own energy. And then I had a nice cleansing bath. Today, I really wanted to connect back to my land. So in mowing the lawn, I thought about how grateful I was to own this piece of property, to have something to mow, really. And I mowed a big section of it. I still have several more big sections to go. I'm going back to my norm, which is settling in, taking care of chickens, doing art projects, um, and just really working on that self-care, that meditation, and those challenging of any negative thoughts that come up in my quiet time. Because I'm going to say right now, I've been in therapy for many years and I've been working on my automatic negative thoughts for a long time. It doesn't mean I'm not ever going to have them. I'm always going to have negative thoughts to challenge. You will always have negative thoughts to challenge. No, they're gonna be there and you're gonna need to challenge them. And so I'm in the practice of knowing that it's just gonna happen and I will have to make some challenges. And my goodness, this kitty cat, she looks like a cat head growing out of my microphone. What are you doing? I love you too, but what are you doing? Okay. Um Anyway, the staging, the cleansing baths, the reconnecting to my land, the going out and caring for my chickens is really getting me back into my routine. It's a slow start, and it's always hard coming back from something so exciting as a family reunion. Um, so that's kind of what I'm doing to reset. But then I was thinking about, what do you do to reset your life? What would you do to reset your life if you were coming off of maybe a really big confrontation and now you need to reset your life? In fact, I was even talking to my friend that you know, Crystal, about kind of that reset and resettling and finding out who you are. um, Going to a family reunion, it was very easy to get myself muddled in what life used to look like, or, looking at my life now, seeing what it was before, and seeing how we interact now in life and how it's so different, how we've all grown up. Like for me and my cousins, especially, I see my cousins, and in my mind's eye, I see them as my little cousins, but we're all adults now and it's different, and seeing what those people are that they've grown into. Um, it's a nice contrast. There are many steps to take to reset your life, but here are a few of the top steps that you can take to just reset your life. And I've had to do this in my life a few times, and I'm sure everybody else has as well. As usual, I looked up on Google to see what these steps are to reset your life. Since, I'm sitting here meditating and resetting myself in my own life, what are the general steps to reset your life? And Google has 7 of them set out. If you type in, what are the ways to reset yourself? I'm going to read these right off the computer. So here's the steps. How to reset your life. Step 1, envision the life you want. Step 2, determine your core values. Step 3, set clear goals for what you want to accomplish. Step 4, break your goals into actionable steps. Step 5, let go of the things that don't bring you joy in your life. Step 6, take some time to clear your mind. And step 7 is to focus on your physical health. Now, those are just the steps that I read off of Google to reset life. And to be honest, I had to do that in order to really reset my life when I started my healing process. And since I've started my healing process, I have since changed those values, and goals have changed and morphed in the time that I have been in therapy. There was a time that I didn't know what my future looked like. In fact, I didn't even see a future for myself. There was a time that I had no values other than the values imposed on me by my upbringing. I had no goals because I didn't envision a future. If you don't envision a future, it's really hard to envision goals to get you to the future you want if you don't know what you want. I could, therefore, nothing could be broken into actionable steps. Um, I had no joy. I was in survival mode. When you're in survival mode, it's very hard to sit and notice, and it's very hard to sit and feel joy because it's something very hard to notice when you're in crisis and personal crisis. And of course, my health failed me when I was at the height of needing all of this therapy, when I had my mental collapse. My health was right along there with mental state. Everything was pretty much a hot garbage train. And it isn't a hot garbage train anymore. There are moments that are trashy, but I'm really working on trying to fix those old habits and behaviors that I have that no longer serve the life that I want to have. Now, envisioning the life that you want is very, very important. If you cannot envision something that you want, even if it's far-fetched, it's gonna be hard to set any goals. And if you're not having goals that are attainable, that you can reach, that you reach and then feel good about, then it's gonna be very hard to live life. You won't have anything to look forward to. And that's kind of where I'm at in my reset. In this time that I've had to myself since my child left on the 12th, I have looked at what the next vacation looks like. I've looked at the budgeting for that vacation. I've booked rooms. I've got tickets. I've now got a schedule and the things that I need to do before this next event comes up. That's something I have looking forward to. So I have lists that keep me on track for that particular event. That's part of it. Getting settled into that planning process and getting ready to go for the next thing, but also resetting my own self and finding that balance and peace within myself. Part of my goals need to match up with always finding my peace, and that's where my meditation comes in. To get myself centered and feeling peaceful and feeling like my house is that bubble of peace again. I always sage to clear out any energies that don't belong, anything that doesn't serve. And then I come back and I regroup and meditate again and recenter my own energy within my house. The centered energy of myself plus my altar energy, reconnecting to that, especially if I've been away. It's very important for me to do to recenter myself. These are all just little steps that I take. You may take different steps because your home environment may be different. I found that in past, when you have children around, it's very easy to get recentered and re-going again in your home life because they're there to kind of, it's not that they're there to keep you on track, they're there to take care of. And so when my children were at home, it was easy to jump to the next thing. I was in Peachtree City for an event, and when I came back, I ended up having a child that I brought back with me, so that I've had that child since that last trip and went right into now I'm in a different mode. I'm in mom mode. I haven't been in mom mode for a really long time, but having a child in the house puts me into mom mode, and I'm like now doing dishes and making meals and making sure there's food, making sure it's food that the child wants to eat. This child is 22 years old. It's not like they're a child. They're a dang young adult and they can take care of all this stuff themselves. However, when the children come to visit me, I want them to have this break. I want them to have a break from their normal life, which might include all of those things. And so I was in full mom mode for almost a whole month, and my child has returned home. And The other children are on the other side of the state. I don't have to be in mom mode. That means I have to go back to Charmaine mode. And it's like sometimes it's hard to find that mode again. I have to remind myself of who I am and what's important to me. My health is important to me. My mental well being is important to me. But my creativity and my ability to make is also important to me. My taking care of the land, the gardening, the taking care of my plants, all 58 of them around the house, is part of who I am. And I have to fold back into that while I'm here alone. And when I fall back into that, that solitude brings me joy. I just have to remember who I am in the solitude so I don't get lost in any automatic negative thoughts that might come up. There's a whole series on that I'm doing. Check out The Witch's Cauldron. So what do you do to reset your life? Do you reset your life? Do you ever take time when you come back from a very exciting event? Or even maybe just a stressful event. Maybe you have a work thing that's really stressful that you go to. When you come back, what do you do to reset yourself and recenter yourself? To remind yourself of who you are and where you're going. Because ultimately, the goal in life is to create our own happiness, and that usually leads us in a direction. We got to find that direction. Once you find that direction and start going that direction, that's when happiness starts to hit you. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty happy right now. And I hope that any tips that I share might help to make your life a bit happier to be in as well. Now, if you're experiencing a life event that is very, very stressful and you need help, don't ever hesitate to call 988, the National Crisis Hotline. It's commonly known as the suicide hotline, but any crisis, you can call this hotline for peer support to help you. They'll pretty much just ask you questions that you might need to be asking yourself, but maybe you're not because you're too emotionally triggered by the situation. I have had to call 988 a couple of times myself just to sort out my thoughts because I didn't have anybody to talk to at the time in my life. If you find yourself in a place where you feel like you have nobody to talk to, please reach out. 988. It's easy to remember. And if you know somebody's struggling, maybe suggest 988. As always, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And until next time, onto which aisle, light and love, friends.